This morning, we continue our look back on an impressive 2022 for us as we highlight some of our favorite conversations from the world of sports. Marty Lyons is one of the greatest New York Jets to ever don the uniform. These days, when he's not part of the team's broadcasts as an announcer, he's making plays with his humanitarian efforts through his foundation.
You know, we started in 1982 with only 6 people sitting around the table. Now we operate in 13 states. We've raised, like, as you said, over $40 million. We've helped over 4,200 families. Sometimes it takes a tragedy for people to open up their eyes and realize that we all have a responsibility. We all can create a platform of life. And then once you get on that platform, you really have to find your purpose in life. You know, my platform was playing for the New York Jets. I always thought football was my purpose, but it really wasn't. And in 1982, my oldest son, Rocky, was born on March 4th. My dad suddenly died of a heart attack on March 8th. A little boy that was big brother named Keith died at the age of 5.5 on March 10th. I struggled to find an answer why the good Lord would go in 6 days. I'm going to take you from the ultimate high and I'm going to take you to the ultimate low. But you have to understand this is life. It's going to happen to every one of us. How are you going to deal with the adversity? Now, my first response was to run, get as far away as I possibly could, because you get tired of people going, hey, man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, there's something that out of something negative came something positive. 6 people created a foundation. I owe a lot of thanks to Kenny Shroy, my former teammate. And then all of a sudden it starts moving. And then all of a sudden, you know, here you are 40 years later going, wow, where did all the time go? And you don't realize where the time has gone until you go, wow, our first recipient would have been 57. Our second recipient, he would have been 46. And you start to add that 40 years to all these kids that got cheated out of life. And then you realize, wow, you know, we've accomplished a great deal, but we got a great deal more to be accomplished. And I need more help from the people that are out there that says, hey, you know what? I want to help. I want to make a difference. I want to make an impact in life, and I want to be a part of it.
Marty Lyons still clutch as ever. Helping others is a big part of the coaching process. Our next Sports Corner features a return for one standout college coach in the women's ranks. We head out to Manhattan College for a look at women's hoops and a conversation with Coach Sam.
I think for me, it's truly awesome to be able to say that I played at a Bronx high school, went to school in the New York metropolitan area, and then now I can help another young talent come to school in the same area or even from the same borough. We have a Bronx side on our roster, which is always awesome. So I love when that's a part of the deal, and that comes with it. And then as a recruiter, I'm always constantly looking for new and upcoming talent from around the 5 boroughs, but particularly keeping an eye on Bronx talent. There's also international recruiting, and there's also transfer portal recruiting, which to me opens up even more doors to meet more talent, more players, and to bring some local players back home.
One of the things that you picked up for your resume during these last few years is being part of Coaches for Change organization. Talk a little bit about what that has meant to you and what kind of impact you've been able to make there.
So I was actually invited into Coaches for Change by one of the board members, a former Manhattan College men's coaching player, men's coaching side, Rasheed Davis. So that for me was a way for me to give beyond the game, as you expressed. I think to me, basketball is the easiest part of what I do. I think helping young men and young women grow, have a voice, be able to be successful in their adult life. To me, that's an even greater reward. When you watch a player go from the recruiting stage, you coach them, you mentor them, and then they go into the world to live on their own and start their own family. I think one of the best things I can hold on to, and one of the things I do hold on to as a coach, is that they're making it and they know what to do. They know how to live. And they can always, my phone is open. They can always call and reach back to see if they need anything. But again, going to join Coaches for Change was for me to be able to connect with even more coaches, to grow as mentors and leaders, and as well as connect even better and stronger with the players that we were coaching. I think the landscape politically lately has been very tumultuous. So it's important that we're able to discuss with our athletes and have an understanding of what's actually happening in the world and how each of us can make an impact individually.
Nice work, Sammy. Go Jaspers. We've got a host of notable coaches in the Bronx, and because of it, we have many student athletes that get the opportunity to play at the next level. This year, that included one of the newest, San Francisco 49ers by way of Fordham Rosehill in the BX.
So excited to be able to speak with you this morning. I know you're getting a chance to head on out to San Francisco this week. Tell us a little bit about draft night. I mean, that's got to be the most exciting time for a college player to be hearing their name announced during the NFL draft.
Yeah, so it was definitely a very exciting, but also just kind of really nerve-wracking, really long day overall. Draft day 3 started at around noon, kind of didn't really get picked until about 4. So I think it was kind of very nerve-wracking for my entire family, just kind of waiting for that call. And when John Lynch and Coach Shanahan called finally, there was so much excitement in the room. Kind of really just didn't know how to react yet, and it was kind of just it was a great experience, great feeling. The fact that I was able to experience it with my family around me was just kind of meant the world to me, just because they're the ones that have sacrificed so much for me to be where I am, and kind of really pushed me to be the best person, best player, best student, all around. Just kind of really just kind of made sure that I excelled in anything I did. So I definitely think that I wouldn't be in the position I am without them, and just kind of being able to enjoy the success with them is something that I kind of really grateful for.
I think it's so crazy too, because over the years, it's always been said that, you can't have players from New York, but now you're starting to see more and more players, if not just from the city, coming from programs like Fordham. And at one point, Fordham was a place that turned out a lot of NFL players. And now I think that's starting to become the trend. I mean, we recently had Chase Edmonds on the show, and there's a couple of teammates too that were on your team this past season that might be in the draft as well. Tell us a little bit about what it's like being that guy from New York, getting a chance to play in the NFL.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, kind of not very much name recognition as opposed to these other Power 5 schools and that. But I think that just kind of really just shows you gotta have a chip on your shoulder. Really, that I think that being from Fordham, you kind of got a little being from the Bronx, going to school there, you kind of have a little grit about you. So I think that's something that really pushes myself to work harder and harder, just because that to make sure that I have the opportunities afforded to myself. I think that having guys who have been in front of me do it, like Chase, I think just kind of being able to really follow in his footsteps and kind of really see the hard work that he put in and the success he's having, and just kind of thinking to myself, okay, if I just work as hard as him, kind of even harder in some areas, and just kind of push myself as much as I can, then I really be able to kind of enjoy that success as well.
Super excited for the young man. The boy can play football. And when it comes to basketball and the creative process, this guest has got the ball on a string, as they say. Maxwell Pierce is a Harlem Globetrotter who is an artist on and off the hardwood.
So the process for this collection was very research driven. I was definitely aware of the contributions that a lot of the athletes that I'm highlighting have made, but I wanted to be sure that I was highlighting them in a way that made sense and honored their legacies appropriately. I definitely didn't want to miss out on key things. So I just started by selecting an athlete that I felt I wanted to highlight. And then I probably spent a few days to a week researching what they've done. And then I think about how I would connect to what they've done. It really focuses on the legacy that these athletes have left. I wanted to be sure that my vision of what I wanted to communicate through the piece aligns with what they've actually contributed. So I would think about what I want the piece to look like, and then I have to teach myself how to make that piece or actually bring it to fruition. So for example, I wanted to make a giant statue out of baseballs, but I wanted to resemble Jackie Robinson. So I had to figure out the best way to attach these baseballs to each other, then figure out how to make the face so that its dimensions are somewhat human-like. The face for the Jackie Robinson piece alone went through 4 or 5 different makeovers and modifications. I made a face that I took it apart, then I put a new one on part. So a lot of the process was definitely teaching myself how to make these pieces. But I think that just overall, all of the pieces are made out of equipment that the athletes use for their sport. And so dealing with that kind of media alone is going to take some time to get used to working with if you're going to make it into an art piece.
Thanks for spanning the globe and taking a spin around the world of sports with us this AM. Happy holidays. I'm Bobby C.